Okay, so welcome back to the 10th video. Now in the previous one we talk about the do while loop, and I said that we will be discussing the for each loop in this video. So before moving on to for each, we need to know one another concept called the arrays. Now array is basically a collection of data items, basically a collection of similar data items. For example, if you have one integer say I, if you have another integer say j, so that is okay, we can have 2 to 4, or even a to z 26 integers like that. But what if we have a million integers or 1,000 integers or 60 students in a class? So how will you go about this? That is where the concept of arrays comes in. Arrays basically allow us to group all the integers into one single unit called the array, obviously. So what I mean is that we have something called as a student is equal to, we'll say, array, and here we can have any number of values we want. So let's go with 5. So again, this statement basically means that there are 5 students or 5 integers. So for our convenience, let's say these are the roll numbers of these 5 students, right? 1 2 3 4 and 5. So again, instead of writing student 1 is equal to 1, student 2 is equal to 2, we wrote 5, or we made 5 student variables in one single unit, right? Now how do you reference these symbols? So basically what we do is we write the name of the array, which is student, and we use the square brackets, and inside the square brackets we specify the number whatever we want. Now indexing of array starts with 0. This thing here is called the index of the array, which is basically the number of the value which we are referring to. So this is 0, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, again this is 0, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, and this is 4, and it goes on till n minus 1. Say we have 5 elements, so the indexing will start from 0 and will end at n minus 1, obviously, right? So student of 0 means 1, student of 1 means 2 in this case, and so on. So that is how you reference the array elements. Now if we want to have another array of names, so we can again go ahead, write names, and we can give values right like that, and it will we can keep going on till whatever number of values we want. Again, let's say we want to have an array of floating point numbers, so we'll say array 1.2 17.0 and so on till you finish with your numbers. The list is never ending, right? So what I basically am trying to prove here is that there is no data type specific syntax of an array. You can have any data type into this one common syntax, which is the ampersand name of the array, right, and is equal to the array keyword and the values in the brackets. So that is how you declare an array. Now for deleting an array, or it is called the unset. So we'll say unset and ampersand student. So this will basically delete the array from the memory. So we can use the unset once we are done with the program. It is not compulsory to use it because the compiler will do it automatically. But again, if you want to if you want to be sure to remove the values, you can do that. Now let's talk about the for each loop. The for each loop is basically used to modify every single element of this array, right? So in the previous 3 loops, what we did is we modified the value of I every time, right? We modified the value of the loop variable every time. But here in the case of for each loop, it is exclusively used to modify the contents of the array. So suppose we have to we have a common operation for all these elements. So instead of doing ampersand student is equal to student of 0 is equal to something and ampersand student of 1 is equal to something, if we have the exact same operation for all the 5 elements, we can go ahead with the for each loop. So we have for each, and here in the brackets we have the name of the array first, then we have the as keyword, and we'll say this symbol which is above 7 on the keyboard, and we'll have to make another variable. So we'll say class rep for our reference. So basically what I was trying to do here is I'll take one student at a time from the array as the class rep. So basically, or if you want to call it monitor, let's call it monitor, it will be easy. So what this statement means is that in each body of the loop, one student will become the monitor of the class. So in the first case we have 1 as the monitor, then the body will be executed. After that we'll have 2 as the monitor, then the body will be executed and it will go on till we reach the last element of the array, right? So there is no initialization, updation or conditions here. The condition obviously will be, or the loop will run till the end of the array, right, by default. Now inside the body of the loop is we have the common operation which we want to perform here. So let's say we want to modify the value of monitor, so we can have monitor into 2, simple. So I missed the ampersand again. Okay, so what this statement will do is, in the first loop it will take the 1 and it will multiply it by 2. In the second run it will take 2 and multiply it by 2, and this will go on till 5, right? So basically the new modified array will now be 2, 4, 6, 8 and 10. Now before we see the modified array, or before we try to print the array, let me tell you one more thing. Because before printing the array you need to do this every single time. Make another variable called length, or whatever you want to call it. This will basically contain the size of the array. So we'll say count, which is a predefined function in PHP, which helps us to count the number of variables in the array. So we have to give the name of the array here. So what this statement will do is, it will count the number of elements in the array. And now let's make a for loop. So we again need a loop variable for that, and we'll start the variable with 0 because we are dealing with arrays and the indexing starts from 0 again, right? And we'll run the loop till we reach the value of count. So we can have length here equal to length, because we want to run it till we reach the end of the array, and we will have I plus plus, right? So now in the loop body we need to print the array. So let's comment out this for each loop. So I'm telling you guys a lot of stuff in this video. This is how you comment in PHP. Commenting is basically means that the compiler will simply ignore these statements which just turned green, right? So this is the multi-line comment, which is done by the backslash star and the star backslash. If you want to remove or comment just one single line, you can do it with double slash, but in this case we are commenting multiple lines. So that is how you comment in PHP. Now let's check out, let's print the array. So we'll type the name of the array, and in the index we'll give I, because that is what we are using I for. In the first run I will be 0, then I will be 1, 2, 3. So we'll have all the 5 elements printed in order. Again, to take the input to the next line, we have the BR statement here. So BR basically means line break, which takes the cursor to the next line, right? So what we should get now is, we should get 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So let's go ahead and see the output. So there we go, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in 5 different lines. You can ignore the notice unless it says error. You don't need to worry about it. Notice is just fine. Probably there's nothing wrong in the code, so you can skip that. And now let's see the modified array. So again, let's copy this. So we can have here we'll say the modified array is, and what we need to do is, we also need to copy the for each loop, or cut the for each loop from here and put it after the. So let me get rid of the statements, and here we are modifying the array. So here is the array, we are first printing it, then we are modifying the array, and we are printing it again, so that it will be clear. The first 5 outputs will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the next 5 should be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So let's see the output. So there we go, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the modified array is 2, 4, 6, 8 and 10. So that is what every single element of the array has been multiplied with 2, and that is what the for each loop is used for. It, as the name says, for each. So it will take one element at a time and it will perform this operation on the element. So this is basically used to modify every single element in the array. However, if you just want to modify 1 or 2 elements, you can do it with the normal referencing, right? So you can have student of say 1 is equal to something, and that is just fine. But if you want to modify all the elements, that is how you do it, and that is all about the for each loop that you guys need to know. So Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.